Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. My name's John, and I do the chaplain impression for the Blue and Gray Hospital Association. Uh,
The highest rank in the military.
the highest rank in the military, the chaplain. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
Good
luck.
When I was in the Army, it was.
Oh, it was, huh?
Well, because if you don't have a chaplain something, it goes straight up the chain
Chain of command. There you go. So thank you for your service.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The group that I represent is the U.S. Christian Commission.
Okay.
Okay, they had about 5,000 members. They were called delegates. It was a outreach from the YMCA.
Wow.
If you go back that far, I think the YMCA has evolved in different directions than originally thought, but most things do. The 5,000 delegates had to be ordained ministers, and they would come anywhere from a month to maybe 6 months and serve in hospitals.
How far away did they come from?
Well, they would be assigned out of a central group, and so you may not, you may come from New York or, Chicago or anywhere along the Eastern Seaboard or as far out to the Midwest and come and serve your period of time and then go back. The main thing was to supply the troops with the religious materials, like this is a soldier's Bible from that particular time period. They also supplied other religious materials, such as hymnals. And so their fundraising basically came from churches, and then from that it was the outreach to the soldiers through the ministry and so forth.
When chaplains became part of the military?
I believe it was 1862. Don't quote me on that, but I think 1862. The military chaplains were in the service just like a regular officer,
right.
And they would serve a full enlistment period, however it was they signed. They were usually nominated by someone that had some pull in the military. So I may be your family minister, or and that was my in to be a military minister and so forth. You had to have recommendations. You had to be ordained, and then it was voted. Some of them were voted like companies. They were voted by their companies who they wanted to be the, going, like this man here was not a minister, but he was from a small community called Myersdale, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And so it may be that the minister from that town came with the group because everyone that was of age from that town came, and so the minister may come with the recommendations and so forth, and he may be the chaplain for a while. Company chaplains up through corps chaplains, you were assigned a rank by doing that. This might be the bars worn by maybe a lieutenant of that particular time, and so forth.
I'm smiling because I saw the coffee behind you, and I just thought, it takes me back to the Gulf War. Chaplains always had. They always had coffee.
They always had coffee, huh?
They always had, something good.
So,
soldiers would seek them out and be like, "What you got?"
I can listen to the minister for a few minutes as long as I get a good cup of coffee, or cookies or whatever it might be.
Give out the little tiny soldiers. Do you have yours? I have mine from the Gulf.
Oh, thank both of you, sir. What branch of the service were you in?
Army.
In the Army? Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. They still. I think some things fundamentally never
change over time.
Yeah.
It was a good thing.
Yeah.
The union effort, as far as chaplains, was a fairly easy one. Yeah. The Confederate chaplains had, I think, a little more difficult time because Jeff Davis wasn't a real believer, or wasn't that faithful, I guess we could say. And
did they carry any kind of firearm, revolver, anything? No. Nothing.
They were considered non-combatants.
Yeah.
Forgive me as I choke on my coffee.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah.
What I found I have a collection of different religious material from that time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the Bibles were published in 2 languages.
Yeah.
This one's in German, and the Methodist religion was the dominant religion in our country at that time, probably because of the biggest immigration from Prussia. in Germany at that time to our country.
Right. Yeah, that's neat.
So you'll find other literature, like you might find a Bible like this that's done in Welsh or something,
Wow.
depending on where the country of origin was for the soldiers and so forth. So the
The Irish.
I don't know whether. I think this one is all in English. This came from our neighbor who had Welsh origins, but it's.
Yeah.
I think it was given to Mr. Llewellyn.
Oh, yeah, that's a
mother.
Welsh name.
Yeah.
I have Llewellyns in my line.
I'm in Evans, so we were Welsh also.
Yeah.
My family was all coal miners up to my dad.
Yeah. Do you do genealogy as well, or like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I got started with all this. These are different soldiers from that period of time that fought here at Gettysburg. Mm-hmm. But I had personal connections with family members that, their grandfathers or great grandfathers and so forth. And so I dove into learning their stories. For example, this is my wife's great grandfather. And these are his binoculars.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
He came right off the boat from Germany. Henry Schultz, and got conscripted right away. Since he could ride a horse, he was in the cavalry. So he was in Lincoln's cavalry, and that's the last artifact that they have from his estate. But at one time, they had his rifle and sword and the whole deal at one time.
Well, see, we had a family fire in 1899, and then a family fire in like 2005.
Yeah.
So everything that we had between,
Yeah.
the 100 years we had collected in between, that was like pretty much destroyed in the fire at my brother's house, and then everything prior to that was destroyed at my great-grandmother's house. So it's like very few.
Yeah. Kathy went away to college one weekend and came home, and all the military stuff was gone. And she said, "Dad, what'd you do with all the other stuff?" And he said, "Well, I gave it to your cousin."
Yeah.
He said, "I didn't think you would ever be interested."
Yeah.
But he kept the binoculars because they lived on the bay. You could use those things like that. Some of the other duties would be going to the different parishes and gathering up fruits and vegetables and so forth that the hospital might be. As a delegate, my job might be to, one moment I might be reading scripture to a soldier who perhaps might not make it through the night. On the other hand, I might be teaching another soldier who's going to be confined to that bed for a couple of weeks how to write his name and how to read. And so the delegates had a lot of different responsibilities.
The chaplain would come and sit with somebody and write letters home for them.
Yeah.
Injured arm, injured eyes or something, and they'd sit there beside him. And I just remember thinking, like, this is exactly like every other war that's
ever existed. Yeah.
Like, somebody wants to write a letter home,
It kind of operated in parallel with the Sanitary Commission?
Yes. Now, we were rivals as far as where the money was coming from, because there's only, like today, with anything, there's a budget, and, most of the money from the U.S. Christian Commission came from church parishes, which was funneled through the YMCA, and then they would fund the different efforts in the field, where the Sanitary Commission had their, little fairs like carnivals and so forth, which I just found amazing, the amount of money I think the Sanitary Commission had like $6 to $7 million left over after the war that ended up going to fund soldier homes in the North. And the Christian Commission money went right back into the YMCA and was distributed through different communities.
Also money the federal government didn't have to shell out for the same services, which for necessary services that maybe they should have included the much.
It should have been, yes.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming by. Thank you for your service.